Xiaomi is one of the most explosive movers out of our China Titans package, and so today with episode 2 out of 6 of China taking over, where we look at Chinese auto manufacturers and their future potential, we have to look at Xiaomi, who admittingly are rather fresh in the automotive market, but they are here to stay and they already delivered quite a memorable performance with their SU7. All that we're gonna cover today. We're gonna take a look at our future outlook, our price predictions, and how Xiaomi can help you to get financially independent in the future. Stay tuned, we're jumping right in. Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe, and admittingly, this video is a little bit shameful to me because I have been a rather early Xiaomi investor. However, during their rather long phase of boring market movement where not much was happening, I kind of chickened out and I'm currently not invested in Xiaomi any longer, which is a huge mistake considering the past performance that they did, but not too fast. We're gonna take a look at the chart performance and also into our predictions in just a second. Where to start off this one might be maybe to tell you what exactly is Xiaomi doing. So Xiaomi, we have it here in the series about Chinese car manufacturers because as of recently, they also do make cars, and a rather interesting one. However, Xiaomi is probably more famous for their general consumer good electronics devices. So for example, they do smartphones, they do cleaning robots, vacuum cleaners, probably also lawnmower robots, and all those kind of kitchen accessories that you might maybe use on a daily basis for cooking, baking, and whatsoever. And me personally, a couple of years back, I actually even owned a Xiaomi smartphone, which at the time was super rare to see someone in the Western world using a Xiaomi smartphone. But let me see, if I remember correctly, that was the Xiaomi Mi 9T Pro, and that was a brilliant smartphone. It cost like nothing. If I remember correctly, I paid, it was not directly at market launch, but a little bit later on, and also at some Amazon promo, I do believe, and I paid like $250-ish, and it was a brilliant smartphone. So beautiful display. Camera performance was okay, good to okay, I would say. Display, however, was brilliant, beautiful, slim edges. Also this super funny and convenient retractable selfie cam. I love that feature. And I recently checked, I still have that lying around somewhere in the cabinet, and everything still beautifully works. So back then, that really got me hooked about the company Xiaomi. And yeah, sadly, as I just teased, as of today, I'm not an investor any longer. I have not been an investor for the last couple of years, which is shameful considering their performance. But what can you do? Some trains you just miss, and you just notice you miss them when they have long left the station. So what can you do? But here in this series, China taking over, I am not gonna look at smartphone manufacturers, but we are gonna look at Chinese car manufacturers. And so as of recently, Xiaomi is one of them. They launched their model called SU7 sometime back in mid-2024, I do believe. And if you go to the official Xiaomi website, you can see how niche this car segment of theirs still currently is. So I mean, you have here the home button, you have then mobile, you have wearables, you have smart home, you have lifestyle, you have, I don't know exactly what it is, probably their high-end smartphone series, but you don't even yet have a special segment for cars. Still, they make them, and they make even especially interesting ones for one reason only. Well, two reasons: performance and second, price. So bear with me here. So this one, in case you haven't seen it yet, this is how the Xiaomi SU7 looks. So they have different specs, but most of them pretty much do look the same. So if we want to get a better look at the car here, you can watch this little trailer here. So it is a sports sedan, I do believe. That's what they consider it to be. We have different colors, of course, to choose. So rather minimalistic in your options of choosing here and of different specs that they provide. But what was the most funny to me is that even here on the official Xiaomi website, they did not even really mention all the different specs that they provide. So far here, for example, they only talk about the SU7, the SU7 Pro and Max, and they do not even yet mention the Ultra, which is the newest edition. And we're gonna talk about that in just a second as well. So, I mean, it's a car that they're selling, right? So it's a rather expensive product, and they do not even bother mentioning their newest, most powerful model. That's why we're gonna head over to Wikipedia here. So SU7, as we just talked about, base model, the SU7 Pro, SU7 Max, and newest SU7 Ultra. And at least with the SU7 Max, by the way, I cannot really get over their car names. I mean, you probably noticed the very same thing, right? This, if you had no idea what I was talking about, if I tell you about the SU7, SU7 Pro, SU7 Max, SU7 Ultra, you definitely would have some smartphone in mind, right? And to be honest, I really do not know whether that is a good strategy to give your cars the very same names that you would use for smartphones. It seems somewhat odd to me. However, so especially here with the SU7 Max, we are looking at already 673 horsepower, so close to 700 horsepower here for a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour acceleration of 2.8 seconds. And the best thing is that this car costs $40,000 US. I mean, of course, you cannot get it in neither the United States nor in Europe for the price of 40,000 because there will be taxes on top and other extra charges for car imports. But those $40,000 US equivalent is the price that customers in China really can and do buy that car for. And as of today, these SU7 sales in China are such a success that they do not even bother distributing their cars to the United States or to Europe. They just do not export because they don't need to. That is how big of a success this car is. And I just mentioned the newest addition to their portfolio here, the SU7 Ultra. So still a SU7, basically just a more powerful engine spec. And if I'm talking about more powerful, it is quite a bit more powerful. It is 1,526 horsepower, resulting then in a 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, 0 to 60 acceleration of less than 2 seconds. And that is a side that I just cannot keep to myself, which I have to share with you here. I mean, it is rather similar to the base model. It has a bit of a bigger front splitter, has a spoiler, of course. Fast cars do need spoilers. We at least know that from Fast and Furious series. So looks great, super interesting car. Also the price, I do believe, for this one is now up at 75,000 euros or dollars equivalent. But nevertheless, you cannot even buy it here, so why even bother? And whether or not these cars will prove reliable or if they just completely gonna start breaking down at every second mile still has to be determined. And in the past, it has been proven smart to not completely take everything by face value that came out of China regarding claims. But I mean, it looks great. It looks great, and we just have to see what the future holds for Xiaomi and their cars. But now, finally, jumping to our market prediction and outlook here for Xiaomi. And you do remember me mentioning that I have been a rather early Xiaomi investor, but I have let myself being kicked out of the market. And that was admittingly somewhere here in this early area. So I managed to, I do believe I even managed to take home a quite mentionable loss in Xiaomi. So somewhere here was when I got my smartphone. I was super happy with the smartphone, got into the market, held for a couple of months, maybe even a year, and sold in the loss and completely missed all this performance here. So back then that was an easy 200%, which I completely missed. And now currently, if we look at this peak over here, that was in March, early March of 2025. And if we go back 1 year, so that would be, for example, here, February, end of February of 2024, up until the most recent peak. That's almost 400% of gains here. Incredibly strong performance here by Xiaomi. And as you can see, currently we do expect the price action in Xiaomi to have formed a 1, 2, 3, 4 waves so far upward structure into this overreaching wave 3 to be completed somewhere here in the area of roughly $70-ish, but we're gonna be more precise in just a second here. And then after this completion of this overreaching wave 3, which is here the wave to follow this wave 1, 2, down here we would of course see a corresponding wave 4 corrective move to be followed and completed by a final overreaching wave 5, completing the overreaching wave 3 to follow this overreaching wave 2 here, where we have established the bottom back in October of 2023 already. And what does that look like on the more imminent outlook? Here on the more imminent outlook, you can see, so this is the very same 1-2 count that I just showed you on the midterm outlook. And ever since this overreaching 1-2 move here. We have seen another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move. So this in and of itself has been a wave 3 extension of an already extending wave 3 here. So you can see here this 1, 2, rather small move here, and this wave 3 here, huge long move. So that's what we call in Elliott Wave theory a wave 3 extension. And out of the regular wave 5 wave structure in Elliott Wave theory, usually waves 3 and 5 can extend. Wave 1s do never really extend. So in case you were wondering why we have here this rather small 1, 2 wave and now this huge wave 3 wave, which is still in the making, that is the reason, because it is a wave 3 extension. And even here in the underlying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure to complete this overreaching wave 3, we also likewise saw a wave 3 extension. Again here, same story, right? Wave 1, 2, rather small compared to this long wave 3 here. So we even here saw a wave 3 extension of the already extending wave 3. And here within this extending wave 3 that we just talked about, we also have placed a target zone only 2 months back, and we have successfully hit that target zone. We have successfully pivoted and are already out of the target zone by currently 30% already. So quite a profitable target zone for everybody who had entered here. And by the way, if you want to get such target zones in advance, and if you also want to get push notifications as soon as we reach into target zones or as soon as we make additions to our model portfolio, because this analysis, which you can see here, is one stock out of almost 200 titles that we analyze on a daily basis. And down there in the description, there is a link taking you to our website where you can choose out of, just mentioned, almost 200 titles. And if you find something of interest there for you, feel free to purchase one of our packages and you will become a subscriber and you will never again miss a marketing move. You will not have to wait for YouTube videos coming out, but you will get updates every single day. Updates like, for example, this one here that only in the last 2 months had already made you 30%. But back to the story. That is not the end of this move here. So starting again from the very upper end of our target zone, we will see probably a total move of somewhere between 80 to 100% only in this wave 3 here, which is still in the making. And as of now, we do still have an alternative scenario here on the chart with only a 30% probability, so not very likely. And as soon as we remain under this resistance here at 58 Hong Kong dollars 70, this alternative scenario still is a possibility. However, as soon as we manage to substantially climb above this 58.70 here, this alternative scenario will be wiped off the chart, because by that time, on a pure technical basis, this is no alternative any longer. And then to our more long-term outlook here, as you do remember from the count that we just talked about, right? So we are here currently in the wave 3 of a overreaching wave 3 here. So here with Roman numbers, and this is the very same Roman numbers that you can find here on our very long-term chart. So this is the 2-day chart before we have been on the 8-hour chart, and this is our very long-term outlook. So we're currently in the wave 3 of this wave 3, so pretty much in the middle of this move, and that's why you can see there is still quite a bit of way to go. This move will probably pivot in the area between currently 82 Hong Kong dollars somewhere to 104 Hong Kong dollars, and this target zone of course will be determined with more precision as soon as we get further along in the market action here. And then to follow this strong extending wave 3 move, we will probably see a rather shallow wave 4 correction and then a final wave 5 up leg to complete this huge overreaching wave 1 here again in Roman candles on top and in brackets. So with other words, we are hugely confident in Xiaomi. We see huge potential in Xiaomi, and so far the company had not disappointed, but has completely stayed on track with our prediction. That's why me personally, I'm also rather confident that it will do so in the future. And so if you have yet not seen the first video of this series here, you can feel very free to check out that video, which should be linked here right now. And if you have seen that already, please consider subscribing and turn on the bell notifications, because the next videos will be coming out of the series. There's 4 more car makers to go. And if you like to also read news articles and small inspirational stuff, check out our X and Instagram pages, which we also have linked down there here in the description. Up until then, see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.